YouTube, it's me, Bergie, and I'm here with a series of videos. Now I am going to be giving you all the different books that I read during 2017, but I'm breaking them up according to the rating I gave them. So I'll have 5 videos. Today's video, which is the worst rated books that I read of 2017. Then the meh books that I thought were okay but weren't anything special. Then the above average books that I really enjoyed. The penultimate video in this series will be all of my favorite books that I read in 2017. And finally, I will be giving a list of all the books that I reread during 2017. So yeah, stay tuned for all of those videos, but today's video, as I said, is going to be all of my least favorite reads of 2017. So I just want to start out by saying that I gave no book that I read in 2017 a 1-star rating. I gave 2-star or above. So in this video, I'm going to be listing the 2-star reads or books that I gave a D or a D+. I didn't even give a D-, which is crazy, I think, because I feel like some of these I need to look at again and maybe bump it down a little bit more, but yeah, so we're going to be focusing on D and D+ rated books that I read in 2017. This will be in order of when I read them, not in order of ranking, because trying to rank them further within this system is just difficult, and I like going in chronological order way better than in rank. So the first book I gave a D rating and that I did not enjoy was The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This is about a middle-aged man who returns to his childhood neighborhood and rekindles with some women, older women that he knew when he was younger, whose daughter kind of disappeared when he was a child, and trying to remember what exactly happened. Now, I know on Goodreads this has a great grade, or a great rating, but for me, I just did not understand the point. Yeah, it was very magical and nicely written, but I just was confused the entire time I was reading it, and I just did not understand what it was about. So for that reason, I gave it a D. Next book on this list is Replica by Lauren Oliver. This was extremely hyped on BookTube either last year or the year before, and honestly, when I read this, I did not understand the hype. For one, I feel like the hype was given because of the format of the book. You would flip it like upside down and read from the other end because there were 2 stories, from Gemma's point of view and from Lyra's point of view. I feel like that was very gimmicky. There was no reason that it needed to be formatted in that way, because you basically heard the same story in slightly different points of views on both sides. Like, there was no dramatic difference that made it so that the format was necessary. As well, another point of annoyance for me was that there was a lot of weight shaming, both on heavier set people and also for skinny people. And I just did not understand it. It was like so bad. I know between chapters, she kind of talked about it a little bit more, and she said that she found at least 30 quotes where there was some kind of weight shaming, and that's just ridiculous. You should not be focusing on someone's weight that much in a book. Now also, this plotline is basically a science fiction novel where 2 girls from different ends of the plot kind of meet up. And just honestly, even though it sounds a little interesting, it's not written very well at all. It's not executed well at all, and for that reason I gave it a D rating. The third book on this list is also a very hyped up book on BookTube, and that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Now, before you guys hate me for hating on this book, I will say that I do not hate it because of its LGBT representation itself. The fact that it includes that is nice, and we need more of that in literature. However, I do not like how it was executed again. I felt like the main character, Simon, was just annoying and just like very stereotypical kind of hidden gay character, and I just did not think she wrote teenagers in general very well. I did not see my teenage self in there, or like my teenage actions or experiences or that kind of stuff there, and I felt like she just made these teenagers very stereotypical in all of their actions. As well, I did not like the kind of plot line of Simon being blackmailed into kind of hiding or having his sexual status being blackmailed again. I just did not like it. I feel like there has to be a better LGBT book out there that is representative of this set group of people. I just did not think this achieved what I wanted it to achieve. I don't think it deserves all the hype because it is a very subpar written book, and I gave it a D+. The next is again another popular book on BookTube, and expect to see a lot of those. I feel like a lot of these books are books that I read because of BookTube and I just did not like them at all. So that is something I need to keep in mind. I can't trust everything that is said on BookTube. But anyway, this fourth book is This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. This is a story where monsters exist because of the sins of humans, and that right there is an interesting premise, but I just don't think it was carried out very well. It might have been my addition, but there were a lot of grammatical errors that really pissed me off because that is a pet peeve of mine. I don't like it when there's any kind of grammatical or editorial errors in books, and there were just so many in this book. Also, I did not connect with any of the characters. I didn't really like how the plot was carried out again, and there was just nothing there for me. I don't understand why this book is given all the hype. I do, however, want to read another V.E. Schwab or Victoria Schwab novel because she is so hyped on BookTube, and I want to see if there is another story that I can actually like from her. The next two books are from the same series, and they're by Cassandra Clare, and they are City of Bones and City of Ashes. Now, I had previously read this series 3 years ago, but I did not put them in my rereads video because I totally forgot what happened in these books, and I didn't really enjoy them the first time around, and I kind of wanted to give them another chance and kind of see them through fresh eyes. However, when I read them, I just did not get along with them. The plot line is interesting, there being shadow hunters who kind of protect mortals from demons or vampires and werewolves. That's interesting to me. It kind of reminds me of Supernatural. But unlike Supernatural, I just did not like anything in this. The characters are, again, annoying. The plot line is very, I don't know, I just don't like how it is written because it kind of seems choppy and that it was made for TV. Like, the breaks in between sections are kind of like commercial breaks, and I just did not like that at all. And also, these books are huge, and it was such a hassle to read them because there was nothing holding me to want to read and continue reading what was happening. It was not gripping, and it sucks because I've said this multiple times, but this is a very hyped book on YouTube, and also it's one of my cousin's favorite series of all time, so I want to love it. It's just that I'm not meshing well with it, so for that reason I gave them a D and a D+, respectively. The seventh book on this list is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. Now, I've heard that a lot of people have controversial thoughts on this, and I was someone who thought negatively of this book because it seems very sexist. In this story, even though there are men and women who have the power of magic that it has to do with the different spectrums of light, the women characters are over-sexualized and they are just so weak, even though they are supposed to be badasses, they just are not. Again, this was a huge book and I just found myself dreading picking it up, and even though I could have DNF'd it, I don't do that, so I forced myself to read it, and it took me so long to get through, and I did not enjoy it. I will say though, the last 50 pages, I was hooked, but in a 650-page novel, having only 50 pages of it be interesting is like awful. That's not how you write a book. Next up are two thrillers that I'm just gonna lump together, and they are The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins and You by Caroline Kepnes. In both cases, I thought the characters were extremely just unlikable, and even though I can get around unlikable characters, these were just so crazy and insane that I just did not understand their choices. They were also very vulgarly written. I just did not understand why, and I did not like them. And honestly, I don't think thrillers are my genre because of these two books. I still have a ton of thrillers that I do want to read to see if it will redeem the genre for me, but as of reading those two books, don't think thrillers are my genre. The penultimate book on this list is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is again another very well-known and hyped book on BookTube, and I just did not enjoy it. This is a sci-fi retelling of Cinderella where she is part cyborg, and there's a lot of discrimination against cyborgs and all that. I thought the story was very simple and it just did not do what I wanted it to do. I don't see why people enjoyed it so much because I thought it was just subpar. There was nothing that really gripped me. I didn't care for the characters. I didn't care really for the plot. I do not think I'm going to continue with this series at all because I don't have any interest for the characters or the plot line. And then the final book on my worst books of 2017 list is an ARC, and it is The Feed by Nick Clark Window, and I'm pretty sure this comes out in March. But anyway, this is a post-apocalyptic, not dystopian, novel where society relies on this technology called the Feed, which is basically an internet kind of implant in your brain. However, in the beginning of the story, this technology crashes and people need to survive without having information at the blink of an eye. Because of that, society degrades rapidly and people are struggling to survive. What makes it worse is that during the night people can potentially be taken over by this disease, which nobody knows exactly what it is, but they just know that if you are taken, you need to be killed right away or else something bad's gonna happen. So even though that sounds interesting, it was not executed very well at all. It was very choppy and did not flow, and this was primarily because in a single paragraph, it would switch from first person to third person and then back, and it was just, it did not flow. And also I just did not enjoy the characters or the writing style or how the plot was executed. Just nothing held me and I did not like it. So I do not recommend you pick it up, but if you want to see for yourself, then you have the choice. It did not come out yet, but it'll be coming out soon. But yeah, those are all 11 books that I thought were the worst reads of 2017. Now, out of all of the books I read, which was 85, this is a small percentage, so I'm pretty happy that I did not read a ton of books that I hated. However, I feel like I read a lot of these really close together, so I felt like there was a lot more than there actually was. But yeah, like I said, I'm glad that there wasn't a lot compared to my overall number of books read. Those are my least favorite books of 2017. If you have read them and agree with my low rating, or if you don't, please discuss down below. I would love to talk to you about whether or not you agree. Also, what were your worst reads of 2017? I'd like to know so that way I can avoid them, maybe, or make my own opinion on them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for my meh books next up, and I'll see you guys in that video. Bye!